Fire team. Welcome to Shift Fire, the exploration and appreciation for military culture. Folks, you are tuned into an episode of Interrogating with Cam and Izzy, or Izzy and Cam, depending on which one you think is more handsome.
What is the best thing to ever happen to you in the Army?
Oh.
In my opinion, meeting some of the best friends that I will have for the rest of my life. That is absolutely the greatest thing about the Army, is you get close. Didn't matter where you came from, didn't matter if you were poor or rich.
It's the legacy that you get to be a part of. You are a part of this lineage that goes back hundreds of years. Generally with the armed forces, more specifically with the unit that you're in, so me for SF, you for Rangers, you get to be a part of that lineage and you get to claim part of that history for your own.
Yeah.
And obviously nowadays it brings us into this world where we get to share our experiences and go off and continue to shift fire and explore all the different aspects of military culture for however long this thing's going to last. So I'm very thankful for what we get to do right now. You know?
Absolutely. What is the most important clothing item that you had when you were deployed, and why was it so important? Boonie camp boots, plate care, etc. Easy question. In regiment, you get issued something called a 3 Alpha, and it is literally a jacket that is made out of a whoopee. It's made by Patagonia, and it is the greatest thing. Because we've talked about the whoopee before, being like the greatest piece of equipment that you receive in the military.
The soft, squishy blanket, yep.
Yeah, but now Special Operations managed to improve on the design and make it into a jacket in itself. So that thing, every single people, there were so many people that just didn't turn that in and took the price hit to their statement of charges just to keep it. Honestly, I didn't do that because I was broke, I'll be honest. I needed all the money I can get for my move back home. But I am scouring the internet, and I will buy a 3 Alpha at price if you hit me up. I mean, everyone's like, plate carrier helmet. And I'm like, no, the 3 Alpha!
Yeah, right. No, I'm going to say when I was in Iraq, it was my Oakley standard issue boots. Because Oakley has a division called Standard Issue where they give discounts to veterans and current military people. And I bought, right before I deployed, a pair of Oakley boots. And man, that was the most comfortable pair of boots I ever had. I actually haven't been able to find them since then, but that was a long time ago. But every time I put them on, it was like stepping into a cloud, man. But they were very durable on the outer shell, you know? Because if you can't walk, man, you can't do anything, you know?
I just spent like $200 on 7 pairs of socks the other day. I'm embarrassed to admit that. But because I like my feet to be in the best of the best.
So the question is, have you ever accidentally been the Blue Falcon? And he said he picked it up from the podcast. Thank you for listening to the Pop Culture Field Manual podcast.
Sitting right at the intersection of weapons, action, the military, and pop culture. Have you ever been the Blue Falcon? Oh, man, I would kill myself. If
I'm saying I probably have blocked it from my psyche because it's so embarrassing, you know?
Yeah. As we know, the military loves to give everything an acronym, right? So a Blue Falcon, a BF, refers to a buddy f***er who is somebody that knowingly goes out of their way to do selfish things that get everybody in trouble. You don't want to be called the Blue Falcon because it is literally the worst thing ever.
Which is, it's different from just making a mistake.
Yeah.
That maybe gets some other people in trouble. Like, you obviously don't want to do that either. But a Blue Falcon is a very specific type of person that's very selfish and self-centered.
Exactly. They don't care about anybody else but themselves.
Yeah.
And they make that apparent. But, dude, I don't think I've ever been a Blue Falcon. I don't think so.
You know what? One thing
I'd rather die than be a Blue Falcon.
Yeah, I've never wanted to be that kind of guy. But there was an incident during Robin Sage. I had to get some other guys to help me out because it was the end of a certain field training exercise, and at one point we had hidden some of our equipment in like these leaves and bushes. And when we went to finish the exercise, we gathered up most of it, but I had forgotten. It was like it was a fake AT-4, you know? And we needed to have accountability for that.
Oh, you lost a piece of equipment.
We lost a piece of equipment. So we were all the way back and said, well, we need accountability. And I said, you know what, man, I think I know where it is. But it's like, okay, you're going to have to get a couple guys to go all the way out there with you.
Yeah.
We had to trudge out there, look for it. We found it. It was there. I apologized. And we went all the way back. And I didn't get a very good review for that particular mission.
Yeah, no, that's definitely a Blue Falcon move. I think I was a Blue Falcon one time in RASP, and we were at Cole Range, which is in the second week, and it's like the hardest thing in Ranger selection, because you go out to Cole Range, which is a training area that is specifically for regiment, and you just get your smoked off, and you do land nav day and night, and in between you do PT, and you do that for, I think it's either 4 days, 3 nights, or 5 days, 4 nights. That's where usually everybody quit. Yeah, I went through in January, and like one of the things is they PT you to keep you warm. And then they lit a giant bonfire, and they're like, if you quit, you could stand next to the fire. And like you'd see all the quitters like really nice and warm and wearing all the snivel gear, and you're just sitting there and you're like, F those people. And then, but no, like we were getting the absolute crap smoked out of us one day. We had to get up, and I couldn't put my boots on fast enough. So like I was like not in the proper uniform, and they're like, everybody stop what they're doing. And they're like, see this guy? Now you guys are gonna have to carry him all the way to the wood line. When they say hit the wood line, which is a very famous like thing that's burned into all Rangers' skulls, and they say hit the wood line, and everybody has to take off sprinting like 300 yards and then sprint back. And I'm just sitting there on the guy's back like, I'm sorry, man. Like I'm so sorry. Like,
I love that.
So I guess that was a Blue Falcon in that, but nothing really, really bad. I don't think so. Have you had any interaction or cool experience with helicopter pilots?
Helicopter pilots. They're your friends, man.
They are your best friends, dude. 160th was like this with us. So like, yeah, I mean, cool. They 160th, the Special Operations Aviation Regiment, I believe. They were the coolest guys ever. They knew how to fly the heck out of a helicopter. And it's like, those things are your best friends. I mean, just riding with them is such a treat, because I got to, unfortunately, ride with like some conventional guys, and it was night and day. Unfortunately, and I'm sorry if you're a conventional helicopter guy, but SOAR takes the best of the best in the aviation realm. Such a treat, such a cool treat.
I was like that nerd that like whenever I was flying, I would like try to get to know the guys. Like, hey, what's your name? How are you doing today? Yeah, because I was just so appreciative. Like, thanks for the ride. And they're probably thinking like, it's my job. I have to do this.
Yeah.
You know?
When I was in regiment, one person gets to get on the PTT and the bird to talk to the pilots. It's usually the platoon sergeant, but in the National Guard, I've gotten to fly a couple times in birds, and I'm the one that hooks up. So when I get in the bird, I'll like hook up to it and be like, what's happening, peeps? What do you think about a combat robot that was being controlled by VR technology from far away? Oh, you mean drones?
Yeah.
It's pretty much.
I mean, we already got the drones. You talking about maybe like the little doggy robots or something like that?
Like you're wearing goggles and you're like sitting there, and it's like an actual robot that's like,
We're talking like Chappie territory.
Yeah, like Chappie, but you put on the things. It's like a, what, Pacific Rim type of thing?
Yeah. Controlling it with your mind or something like that.
Yeah, and it's kind of like Ready Player One when they're, all the giant evil corporation has all the players in the room, like sitting on
all
the
things. Bots,
Yeah, that would be a cool concept. It would save a lot of lives, but how much money would that cost?
I'm thinking of like, how best to get the operation done. Like, does this need a human presence to do whatever it is that needs to be done on the objective? Or is it just like a bombing run? Or like you got like a suicide robot, just running into an area or something like that?
Bipping itself?
Yeah, they just fire it away, and then once it gets pinned down, it just blows up or whatever,
Yeah, I mean, that'd be cool.
Preservation of human life, that's pretty cool. If we can use technology to do that, I'm all for it.
Yeah, sure. Sounds like a cool concept.
Oh, kind of in the same vein, what are the limitations and weaknesses of drones? Do you think they'll ever fully replace pilots?
Interesting. Might hurt a lot of feelings, might, prove a lot of points. I don't know. I think there is disadvantages and there's advantages to everything. Obviously, advantages is preservation of human life. Disadvantage is cost. I remember in Syria, they had a drone go down. Like, not just like a little copter.
Like one of
the entire, like the Predator drone ones went down, and we had to go recover it. And like, it barely fit on the back of the truck. So that's a disadvantage right there. Yeah. Advantage is obviously preserving human life. Conduct kinetic precision strikes from a faraway location.
I think that this question has already been well answered in the movie Stealth, starring Jamie Foxx. They have the artificial intelligence jet that goes rogue, and then the human pilots have to go after it. So obviously, I think we know that the answer is artificial intelligence is bad. Skynet is coming for us.
And you could also watch Top Gun. And
everybody knows we just need more Mavericks in the game.
Just need more Mavericks, right?
What would you do different if you could go back in time to when you were preparing for Ranger School or I'll say selection, SF selection? I had a really good experience in selection, man. I was never the back of the pack. I was usually toward the front. I was in very good shape. The SOP C, which is the pre-preparation course
Yeah.
for 18 X-rays that you get to go through before you go selection. They did a really good job of prepping us.
Obviously, I wouldn't change a damn thing because I wouldn't be here if I wanted to change anything. You know, I think I did everything to the best of my ability because obviously I got to regiment and then I got to do my job and I passed Ranger school. And I wouldn't change a damn thing.
If I could change my attitude, like if I, they say if I would have known then what I know now, like I always just dealt with like a lot of apprehension and fear, like am I gonna make it? Am I gonna be okay? And I was always okay. Everything always turned out fine. I was able to do the tasks that they gave me. And it's just like that kind of blanket level of fear that if I could have gone back and fixed that or have confronted that, I mean, who knows how I would have performed otherwise,
What do you got for me?
I see a familiar name here. Any tips for family and close friends at home on how to support a soldier who has to deal with mental impact of irregular losses of squad mates and civilians in their AO? Oh, friend currently
in Ukraine.
Friend currently in Ukraine. Slava Ukraine, my friend. That's like heavy stuff, you know what I mean? Like people dealing with loss and things like that. I'm fortunate that when I was in, I did not have to deal with anything like that personally, but there were guys that had to deal with like family things. When we were over in Iraq, there were a lot of guys who had family issues back in the States, and when you're over there, you feel powerless. You feel like you can't do anything about it. The first thing that we were always taught, is to be a presence. Like if you have a relationship with that guy, you got to let them know that they have an outlet, that they have somewhere to go to talk to. It was impressed upon us that you should talk about these things. Like you don't just insulate.
Don't bottle.
You don't isolate yourself. You gotta let it out because that's a part of the process of dealing with that. And then kind of getting your thoughts out on the table and then hopefully finding like a way forward to deal with what you're going through.
I think it's a very interesting questions because it's tips for family/close friends at home on how to support someone that's going through there. Because initially I thought it was how do you deal with it on a level of the soldier.
Oh, you're right.
I was kind of like, well, what'd you expect, man? If you're going to a war zone, it's kind of hard. So I was a little cautious because I was like, my answer might be a little insensitive.
But we're talking about
family members. It's hard because obviously they are not there. They did not experience what you did. Like Izzy said, instead of clamshelling yourself off and not allowing them to help, that creates problems, that creates struggles. Offer assistance in a way that is comfortable for whoever's experiencing that loss. I think that's the most you can do.
Yeah, I mean, being a family member or a friend of somebody like that, my instinct, this is just a personal kind of instinct, but like, hey, I don't know what you're going through, but I feel like I want to help. I feel like I want to be there for you.
Sure.
Being honest with like communicating that, them knowing that
is enough.
And then maybe, if they want to get professional help and stuff like that, that's important too. But like, I think a lot of times, man, people feel like they're so alone and like nobody can like understand them. Just knowing that they have like somebody in their circle, somebody close to them that cares, like knowing that somebody cares is a big deal.
And I'm sure like a lot of families like care about people that go through that type of stuff. It's just at least the pattern that I've noticed is the soldier themselves does not allow for help.
So they have to be willing to.
They have to be willing to help. Yeah. So if you're offering tips, you have to be willing to take them.
Yeah.
So it's a double-edged sword there. But yeah, just being able to offer that assistance and to let the soldier know that you do care and that you're there for them and that if they need anything to let them know, I think is good enough for family and friends. On the flip side, the soldier needs to be vulnerable.
Yeah.
And needs to know that it is okay to talk to these people and just because they weren't there doesn't mean they can't help you. So I think that's a good enough answer for that. What would y'all recommend someone do if they want to receive as close to military training without joining the military? Oh man. Well, you can join the National Guard.
That's still the military.
Yeah, well, whatever. Look, there are so many courses put on from former, military, former special operations, shooting courses, urban survival. Like, for example, companies like Core Vision put on great land nav, put on night shooting, like that. It's out there, it's available. If you really want to, experience that stuff, you absolutely can. One thing that we've done before that it's really close to, military training, MilSim.
Yeah, MilSim, Airsoft.
Yeah, I mean, events like MilSim West, they're a military simulation event. Honestly, I think the best in the States. Get involved in that. You'll learn a lot.
Man, you get into like the tactical community out in the civilian world, you realize that there's dozens of shooting courses that you can take. There's dozens of schools that are offering kind of tactical, shooting or just range shooting. There's also like, you can do like bushcraft stuff. You can do like first aid courses. You can do survival courses like the stuff that we have done. Maybe the warrior mindset. There's a lot of like courses that you can take where they expose you to kind of these really harsh, long endurance training exercises, and they talk about mentality and and endurance and mental toughness and stuff like that, which is like a lot of the stuff that you endure just whole cloth in the military.
Well, there you have it, folks. That concludes this episode of Interrogating Cam and Izzy. We hope you enjoyed our answers just as much as you enjoyed asking them. If you like this video, make sure you let us know by hitting that like button. Also, subscribe to the channel so you can stay up on the latest and greatest from all things Shift Fire. Share it with your friends. And as always, Fire Team, we will see you on the next one. Next question. Tenant.
Wait, is that a trick question?
It just says tenant on the back.
This is like a weird sci-fi moment.
Okay.